Are there cartels in South Africa?
Cartel, I think, is a big word,
What word would you use?
See, if you look at the history of your organized crime, so your mafia would be linked to families, ne? And your cartels, it's now when all the big bosses of the families of the mafia come together for a purpose, then it's called a cartel. I have not evidenced that in the investigation. Maybe there is, maybe we are missing it. But in your typical organized crime countries like your Mexico, your Colombia, your Brazil, those exist.
Are we getting there? Are we heading in that direction?
If we let things spiral out of control by not addressing organized crime, I think we can easily spiral into that direction.
And then the big five, what do you know about it? I mean, I'm sure it's either under investigation, but is there some sort of reality and is there some prima facie evidence to...
When you conduct your organized crime investigation, you are bound by the trade to do your link analysis. And I think when the team did their link analysis and identified people who actually are part of that particular syndicate, I would say that it was not done lightly. It was done based on either documentary evidence or evidence from your digital space that actually links the individuals.
Were you part of that process?
I wasn't. General Mkhwanazi,
I just want your evidence of your opinion on this one.
General Mkhwanazi gave out allegations. And I think it is up to the investigating arms who are responsible, have been tasked with this particular matter, to be able then to sift what is factual and what remains allegations. But beyond that, I cannot make an informed opinion.
Are you satisfied that the current command structure within crime detection has protected investigation from political or any internal interference?
I think for me, until we actually conduct maybe a climate assessment, understanding the impact this has had on policing, then we can actually dissect the areas affected, and then we can see if some of the insulation has been compromised. Only then can we then say we can be able to heal what has happened.
Did Mr. Matlala pay for a Brazilian butt lift for you?
Yeah, and I must read this because it was for me a sore point in my career that I could just be taken so low after working so hard to be where I am with my integrity intact up until that moment when somebody thought under oath he could just get away with it. I wish to submit to this committee that it is rather gravely unfortunate that I have to respond to this. And for me, I must say, Mr. Matlala, the cybercrime, you can actually, cyber, what do you call them? Competencies. You can trace the money that I paid for my procedures. And I've given all of those statements as evidence to the evidence leaders. It's available for the committee to see. From my credit card to my check card to Dr. Pett, who actually did my procedures. I'm not shy, honorable members, to say I take care of myself. Being a police officer doesn't mean that you can just give up and people see us. We've got young women who must look at us as leaders, that actually I can do the job. We model the badge. So if I had to do this for myself, Honorable Malema, there are times when I wear that uniform and I carry the firearm and I'm like, no, damn, I look good. There are times where I also like you, I don't see it, But it's all about my body, my decision, and what I deem fit as a woman at my level, with the money that I work hard for, not seeing my kids. If I can give an example to this committee, my son almost committed suicide on Sunday as I was about to come here. I don't know what my kids are going through. He was in ICU for the better part of the week. And I think Advocate was there actually at some point talking to me when it happened. So if I take my money to feel better, I'm not going to apologize to anybody. Yes, it can be a laughing stock for a moment. My biggest problem is that it was said under oath by a senior official of the South African Police Services. I do have the dates. I think for the sake of time, Chairperson, the procedure was done on the 16th of October in the afternoon. I went to work, and I took leave. General Sibiya is correct, because my back had pins, I couldn't sit properly. But I don't think it's something that for me he should have rode on as a man with a badge of honor. And an allegation that he just threw from nowhere to say that Mr. Matlala paid for it. In 2023, Honorable Sangon, I've not even seen Bangazit. I've not even seen him at the time. And it is paraded on the global platform to say this general who represents this flag that I wear every day. I wear this every day because I represent my people. When I go to Abu Dhabi and I sit, I represent South Africa in terms of diplomacy. I'm not going to be sorry for what I do to look good. And maybe also juxtaposing General Sibiya with Brigadier Majeng. I don't even know what Ozempic looks like. You can see Honorable Sangoni, I think I was built for show off. I was not built to be normal. I don't know what Ozempic, for this thing to be paraded and my name to be attached to it. It is rather gravely unfortunate. Lastly, I want to request the committee and the world at large, because I've been getting calls from as far as Paris, from as far as Tanzania, people asking what is going on, that you see these allegations for what they are, with an intent to damage me, my reputation, and also a deliberate attack on my credibility and integrity. I submit, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, I want to call a point of order, and I think this point of order is on you. You are failing us, Chair. We've always agreed that during the leading of evidence, we will ask clarity-seeking questions. Now, the whole day today, you've allowed members to come in, especially Honorable Malema, not asking clarity, and the rest of us are sitting here being very disciplined. The same member complains about the time of the evidence leader and still comes in the additional time that you sought to compensate for the time that we've taken. I really think you need to help us, Chair. We want to hear the evidence of the witness being led by the evidence leader. It's 1:30 now. You are going to say she must stop. But in the last 15 minutes, she's been interrupted again by the member who was complaining. Chairperson, please, can you assist us?
Okay, let me.
If she's looking for me, she will find me.
No, Honorable.
Because I've been asking clarity-seeking questions, items that are
this is
on the
wrong.
agenda.
Honorable Malema.
I've never asked anything new.
It's not a clarity-seeking question. You are following
You are
up.
not the one to determine this.
No,
Not,
you are not running this
no, you are not
committee.
going to determine that. The
You are
chair,
not running this committee.
the chair will determine that, not
The
you.
evidence leader is not going to talk when you
But
want
the
to talk.
chairperson is going
Quiet
to
because you
decide
want to
that,
talk.
not
No.
you. This is not an ANC meeting. This is
not
a
an
committee
EFF gathering
that is going to
either.
be decided by the chair, not
Allow
you.
the chair to chair. You are not
Chairperson,
the chair, Honorable Malema.
You allowed me to make follow-ups. I did exactly that through you.
Are not supposed to
Not
be
through a
following
backdoor arrangement.
clarity-seeking questions. You think none of us have questions that we want to ask, but we're restricting the process.
Through you, Chair. I asked clarity-seeking questions through you. And if she has got nothing to say, she must keep quiet. Because if we have something to say, we'll say it. And we've been saying it through you. I'm not going to be directed by her on when to come in, not to come in. As long as you allow me, I'm going to do that, not her.
Counterintelligence to monitor interactions, bank accounts, relationships of SAPS members with certain individuals. And then with all of this knowledge, General, and at one stage I think you were heading up this department, you did not see anything wrong with asking for a sponsorship from Kat Matlala as someone who was the head of counter. The head of counter goes to someone that has not only a service provider, and remember your mandate as counter is to detect interactions, improper relationships. And here you are telling us, as the former head of counterintelligence, you approached a service provider, which number one is improper and makes this questionable, and you approached someone with 17 charges. That was more than just a sad moment in your career.
It actually is regrettable. And much as I can say it was innocent, I think from the look of things, it doesn't sound right, it doesn't sound correct, and it's something that will follow me. And no matter how much I can argue it out to say it was innocent, it remains. And again, as I said, it also exposes the vulnerabilities of us letting our guard down, relying specifically on supply chain to clear this sponsorship for us. I think it should go beyond that. So I do understand and agree with you.
Sure, General. You know why this is bothering me? Because I know we have these victim-friendly rooms at police stations who could have benefited from a fridge in one of our communities. You could have much rather donated that fridge to one of these impoverished communities. So we are and the reason why I'm asking you these questions, we are not only probing criminality, we are also trying to establish the people who are in these positions, are they fit for these positions? I need you to answer a few of the following questions. Do you agree that the initial audit was skipped? The initial audit, when you collect dockets, because I've been working with SAPS for many years, and I know that when we ask for dockets to be removed or maybe prioritized, you have a notification. The first step is you have a notification sent to the local police station, the station commander, informing them. Then you have that detective coming, sitting in the boardroom, and there's an official handover, an audit of the dockets before they get taken. Was that skipped?
It wasn't skipped. If I may remind Honorable James respectfully that the dockets were not at the station, they were with the PKT team.
Yes, with the PKT.
And the commander of the unit, Colonel Khumalo, is the one who brought the dockets to head office. And I think when they were here, Colonel Mdluli, Brigadier Khopotata, and the team from the PKT then did an audit of those dockets before they were handed over.
Do you agree with me that prior to this decision that the key role players were not engaged?
I do agree with you.
The actual team, that they were not engaged on the intention of the minister?
I don't think they were. Also listening to Colonel Khumalo's testimony, I don't think there was proper communication to them. I do agree with you.
And also the custodian wasn't informed?
Exactly.
Do you then agree that based on what you've just said, that General Kwanazi was well within his rights to refuse those dockets back?
And which is why I never questioned and which is why I never differed with him. I think I understood because...
So we'd like to put on record that you agree with General, if you were General Kwanazi, you also wouldn't take those dockets back?
Definitely, I would not have taken them.
Do you think that those dockets would have been exposed to tampering?
I think there was a report compiled where General Muzipe was highlighting challenges, so I wouldn't know.
But you agree that because of the manner in which this happened, someone could have tampered with those dockets?
There is a possibility that I can't rule out because I was not physically involved in that process.
So hence, it is okay for General Kwanazi to say, I don't want those dockets back.
As a commander of the province, I think he was well within his rights.
Do you agree that those PKT dockets should have never gone to head office?
I do agree, now understanding and knowing what
It didn't really also go to head office. It went to General Sibiya. Are we correct? Let's just be frank now. Those dockets didn't go because this way we say SAPS and we say head office and it went to Pretoria, we need to name a person. Those dockets left KZN and they went straight to General Sibiya's office where they gathered dust. That's the truth. Am I correct?
I wouldn't necessarily agree because they were kept with SVC and that would have been in the same building that he sits as well.
Was that in General Sibiya's office?
No, it was in Brigadier Khopuleta's office.
Do you agree that those PKT dockets should have never gone to head office?
I do agree, now understanding and knowing what I
It
know.
didn't really also go to head office. It went to General Sibiya. Are we correct? Let's just be frank now. Those dockets didn't go because this way we say SAPS and we say head office and it went to Pretoria, we need to name a person. Those dockets left KZN and they went straight to General Sibiya's office where they gathered dust. That's the truth. Am I correct?
I wouldn't necessarily agree because they were kept with SVC and that would have been in the same building that he sits as well.
Was that in General Sibiya's office?
No, it was in Brigadier Khopuleta's office.
About how he went about the disbandment of the PKTT. Now, you state in paragraph 73 that the minister should not have unilaterally decided to disband the PKTT. And by your own account, you had one of the best working relationships with Minister Mkono. Better than any other political principal, you say. Throughout your 27-year career, did you use this relationship to advise the minister that this process was wrong?
In response, Honorable Sauls, I want to say that in my clarification, that at the beginning of the process, I was not involved. And I think when I got involved, then there was those two briefings, the 5th and the 6th of March, 2025. Yeah, 2025. Sorry, I'm getting the dates wrong now. And General Mkhwanazi was in one of those meetings. So in my understanding, process is followed because General Mkhwanazi is in the know. Until I realized later that actually he wasn't. But I think at that time, it was too far in the process to even engage. Minister Mkhunu never engaged with me on the PKTT matters except for the other projects. So in that regard as well, I don't think we ever discussed it. Even if post General Mkhwanazi's discussion with me, I were to advise him to say, but the manner in which it happened actually has caused the organization problems. It would have been after the fact.
Okay. Tell me, how do you feel about the fact that you, such a high-ranking officer with so much skill, and how do you feel about the fact that a person who the most training he got in intelligence was an after-school youth empowerment program, and the biggest experience he has is as a tavern owner, Mr. Brown Mokhotsi. How do you feel about the fact that he knew before you?
Sitting in this chair, I think I'll be lying to say any other than it was surprising, any answer than that it was surprising. But also, if what he says is true, then definitely we have a big problem within the organization. I spoke about compartmentalization. I spoke about what regulates, even us internally discussing cases. In some of the cases that I would deal with, you'll find that one of the generals probably is a suspect. That's why we then don't discuss those things. But if these things are actually available to the outsiders, it is a cause for concern. During the process, I think I explained that from the parliamentary meeting, General Mkhwanazi was there. So in my view, he was in the know in terms of the project. And if anybody were to call General Mkhwanazi, it would not have been myself and General Mkhwanazi because we were implementing. It would have been either the DNC or the National Commission. And I think upon realizing that he is not part of, and then I began to express my reservation. In essence, I was not part of those who actually would term or be termed to be have deliberately excluded him. On the contrary, I understood the process because I deal with the PCs on a daily basis. Thank you, Honorable.
Where were the dockets kept from the day when they were actually collected from KZN to head office? From head office, an attempt was made to return them back to KZN. But where were they kept? Who was actually having authority over those dockets at the time?
It was the Office of Serious and Violent Crimes, General Motsipe, and Brigadier Khopodi Tata. So they were kept within the SVC environment at National, General Motsipe and Brigadier Khopodi Tata.
Not in your office?
Not in my office.
Okay.
Maybe let me say, Honorable Mwango, never in my office.